So anyway, we're here with Chris Mannix.
Nice segue.
Yeah, that's segue. We're segueing into sports. Let's get to this Jameis Winston thing. Is it Jameis or Jamie's?
Jameis.
Jameis. So what's going on with this guy? Like, what is he's innocent, but they're still talking to him.
Legally speaking, he's innocent. He could still get sued though.
He's not going to get any Heisman Trophy.
He's going to win it.
You think so?
Look, remember,
is he tainted enough to where they won't vote for him?
Yeah, but you know what? With no legal standing here, with no criminal charges, it's going to be really hard for people to not to vote for him. You go back to 2010, Cam Newton, he got the Heisman when he had all this stuff circling around. Not as severe.
I forget. What was
it? Improper benefits.
His dad got a lot of money.
Yeah,
but that's not rape.
It's not. But look, the criminal justice system said that they weren't going after him. They weren't going to pursue him. And look, here's my issue.
He's innocent. I mean, that's
but everyone felt like he was guilty, and it was a technicality or a loophole that got him off.
He's an innocent guy, though.
But again, Artie said it's not rape, and that is very true. Great point.
His dirty laundry got aired. But here's my thing. We don't know these guys. We don't know any of them. We know the public face that they're putting out there that they want you to see. You can't sit there and say Jameis Winston's a bad guy and say Marcus Mariota is a good guy.
Right.
You don't know Marcus Mariota. You don't know this guy.
You're 100% right.
I mean, unless they, for me, if I was a voter, I'm not a voter, but if I was a voter, I would look at this and say, the prosecutor decided not to go after this guy. I can't assume something that I don't know. Unless I'm an investigative reporter, unless I'm Charles Robinson over at Yahoo Sports and I know something more than what's already out there, I got to vote for this guy based on the merit. And based on the merit, he's by far and away the best football player in college football.
Yeah, and I mean, the prosecutors are saying no, and I'm sure they'd love a high-profile conviction. And
of course they would.
There wasn't enough evidence, clearly. So you gotta give the guy the benefit of the doubt.
I want to investigate the Tallahassee Police Department. This only came to light. Honestly, this only came to light when some reporter from the Tampa Bay Times, filed like a Freedom of Information Act request to find out that these allegations were true. This was sitting dormant for like 9 months. They didn't forward this to the prosecution until a reporter came and got the information from them. So. There's something real shady about what went on with that police department.
Okay. Well, all right. So then based on that, you're thinking this guy's going to walk away with that?
I think he will. Yeah. Cam Newton got something like 85% of the vote when he won in 2010. I think that Jameis will probably get close to that.
Right. Who's second?
It's tough. You got
the big question.
Andre Williams at Boston College, Johnny Manziel, Mariota, a couple other guys might have. There'll be a surge for A.J. McCarron to get it, but I doubt he'll come.
Whatever happened to Jardanian and Clowney? I mean, he just
week one happened.
He didn't play.
I was going to say, he didn't play at all. What happened with him the rest of the weekend?
But
he got convicted for having the bad weekend.
Well, he had strange injuries that everyone just assumed where he didn't want to play and risk injury.
Where is he going to go in the draft?
He didn't play hard. He'll go one. I think he'll go one.
You think he will?
If you ask, if I'm the Houston Texans and Lovey Smith is my coach.
Lovey Coach.
Lovey Coach.
Lovey Coach is my Smith.
Hello, Lovey Coach.
All right, I was ahead of myself a little bit. Lovey Smith, I mean, what a perfect bookend for a 4-3 defense. J.J. Watt on one side, Jadeveon Clowney on the other side. Unstoppable or only stoppable defense to build off of. They need a quarterback.
Yeah.
So that's the big decision there. But
I'm not sold
if I'm
on
Lovey Smith, I'd take him.
I'm not sold on Teddy Bridgewater either.
No.
I mean, I'd have to see much more from him in the next
I don't think
couple
he's
of months.
built to withstand the NFL.
Yeah.
Physically, just not a big guy.
You think the fact that he's sort of compared to RG3 hurts him too with what's happened with him?
Well,
he's bigger.
Yeah, he's not as fast as RG3, not as athletic.
He's bigger,
but he's sturdy.
Taller.
He's taller.
Well, he's about the same height.
No, I think he's a little taller.
He's slender. I mean, he's got some legs on him, some power, but he's just a frail build. He's not a big, boxy, tall, stand in the pocket guy.
If you're the Texans and you take Jadeveon Clowney at 1, say he's at 1, second round comes around, Johnny Manziel's there. You probably take him there.
Sure.
You take him there. And he could be there because Manziel hasn't had a great year this year. I mean, he's struggled a little bit. There'll be a lot of character issues about him as well. He's undersized. We keep bringing up Russell Wilson and Drew Brees. These are like the exceptions rather than the rule. I don't know why people keep harping on that. Like, Russell Wilson did it. Drew Brees did it. Everybody else is 6'5".
The guys, right. There's a major difference.
How about the idea? Listen, when you look at the stats from tonight, the Chicago Bears, Josh McCown, 348 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, granted, Dallas defense is awful, but Josh McCown in that system with Mark Trestman has proven himself. Trestman said himself, I like the way this offense runs. It runs just as well with Josh as it does with Jay, essentially, without coming out and saying that. He said it. So Jay Cutler is a free agent at the end of this year.
Yeah.
The fact that they haven't renewed him yet, I think, speaks volumes.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's going to be due because of his arm talent, maybe close to $20 million a year.
It's a lot of money. I wouldn't give Jay Cutler that
No
much money.
way would I give him that.
No, but what do you do? But who's
here's the
someone
thing.
right,
I think
All it takes is one team.
Jay Cutler will, assuming he becomes a free agent, assuming Lovie Smith becomes the coach of the Texans, and they've said they're interested, does Lovie Smith take Jay Cutler back as his quarterback? I mean, that's a crazy situation there, right?
Last thing, what do you give
Could
Cutler?
happen.
If you don't give him 20 million, you give him 17. I mean, if you give him 17, okay,
I mean,
but I think someone else will give him 20.
It only takes one team.
Yeah, I think the Texans would step up and give him 20.
You talk about McCown tonight and Trestman. I've read that stuff what Trestman said too there, but I still wouldn't trust my franchise for winning a Super Bowl with Josh McCown.
Well, nor I. But the fact of the matter is, he is just as effective within the parameters of that offense.
Let's see what happens
as
in
Jay
the playoffs.
Cutler is.
I want to see what happens in the playoffs.
Let's talk to a diehard Bear fan. Do you give Cutler $20 million a year, Dan?
No.
No, you don't.
No.
Okay.
Are you comfortable though with Josh McCown as your quarterback in the playoffs?
I don't think he's any worse than Jay.
No, I don't know. I think Jay can make big throws, and I'm not sure Josh McCown can.
That's the one
Jay
thing.
can make big throws, but he can also make
big
dumb
interceptions.
decisions.
Yeah.
And put those big throws right in the chest of a defender. That's his big issue.
McCown has not made it. I mean, he's made one mistake in 3 or 4 games.
Very smart. He's very smart. I think that team likes him. I'm not convinced that team.
Bill Gates
likes
is very smart.
Jay.
Buschetti's over there nodding his head. He's nodding his head.
Right, Artie? Hey, absolutely, Artie.
Can I ask you guys something?
Stephen Hawking's very smart. You going to trust him 3rd and 8, big spot, 4th corner?
What's going on between Shanahan and RG3?
That's a mess.
Well, yeah, you're hearing
then the
all kinds
RG3
of
don't
stuff.
respect him. He's not showing him any respect, as far as I'm concerned, which is a bunch of crap.
RG3
Daniel Snyder has been behind closed doors, supposedly babying RG3,
Right.
and Shanahan's been taking offense. I think the fact, if that's legit, that he cleared out his office at the end of last year.
which it sounds like it is. Because he's not
the
denying
fact that he's not refuting that. I mean, what a huge
You hire
deal.
Shanahan for a reason. He's a coach that should get respect. 2 rings, been
Right.
around forever.
But he's going to get fired.
He might have, though. Look, John, I don't know if you agree with this part, but Shanahan got his 2 rings because John Elway played well for him there. But when Elway left, he wasn't anything in Denver.
You know what?
He didn't do anything there.
Here's the thing that every coach in the NFL emulated his zone running attack.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you ask me, his offensive line coaches and he himself were responsible for the proliferation of the zone blocking scheme in the NFL. They had so much success with it, no matter who they plugged in there. And he's still a great coach. In today's league of passing the football predominantly, he's still a guy you can always count on to have a really powerful and dependable running game.
You know what
There's something to be said for that.
Yeah. You know what he's doing right now, though? It's like that Costanza thing where, like, Costanza, tried to get fired from the Yankees so he could take that job with the Mets. Like, Shanahan wants to get fired so he can take the job with the Texans next year.
Yeah, it sounds. It doesn't sound like he's
that's a
happy there at all.
Bodysuit man.
But, the one thing, though, like, whenever you have a firing in the NFL, doesn't it usually seem like you go from an offensively minded guy to a defensively minded guy, or vice versa? Like whatever you're. Now, the defense in Houston, not necessarily bad, but not anywhere close to as good as they should have been this season compared to the years previous. I think the fact that Lovie Smith was the first name out there and that he's a defensive guy makes me think that they're focusing on another defensive guy. But Shanahan, you bring Shanahan in there, they're a zone run team.
Yeah.
And you got Arian Foster and Ben Tate. You got an offensive line that is very experienced in that scheme. That's a good fit, too.
Look, it's obvious. If RG3 doesn't want Shanahan there and Shanahan doesn't want to be there, it's obvious he'll get picked up in a heartbeat by someone. And
I would think
they'll build a system around him, and RG3 is going to be around, and Schneider. These are superstars. They're going to get what they want. Although I think RG3, of the 2 of them, is the one with something to prove, And
the thing is,
if he goes and they cater a coaching system to him next year, he better perform,
They're bringing his college coach, Art Briles.
Yeah.
Is that
Could
a
wind up doing
possibility?
that,
Yeah, wow.
Possibility.
Yeah.
I
That's
think that would be a
catering.
disaster.
That's catering to a guy.
He's got to be the next big name coming out of college, right?
It never works, though, when you cater to stars. I mean, go back to Cleveland and LeBron James. That never worked. They gave LeBron James his buddies jobs in the entire organization.
He made it to the finals.
They made it to one finals.
Yeah,
one finals. They
swept.
flamed out.
Yeah,
They
right.
got swept. They flamed out all the way through. Yeah. It wasn't until LeBron got to Miami where basically they told him he could be a player and his buddies could go back to Akron and stay and hang out there.
Right.
No, that was essentially what they told him.
He
in
was
Miami.
the Adam Sandler of basketball.
You got to tell these guys. These guys need to be coached. They need to be told what to do. RG3 is a 23, 24-year-old kid.
Yeah.
He doesn't have all the answers. You have to give him the answers and tell him, I know what I'm doing. You don't. Respect this.
Well, if his
fact
coach
that-
from Baylor is going to come out and play and coach in the NFL, I mean, the move would be just to reunite him with RG3.
Yeah.
But that is
And Daniel Snyder
rolling
is
out
the
the red
kind of-
carpet for a player. That's
Daniel
like,
Snyder is
That'd
the
be his
kind of
eighth
guy
coach.
who would do
his
that,
eighth
though.
coach, Daniel Snyder.
And
That's
and
insane.
he
That's
is
insane.
a player's owner. Absolutely.
Sounds like it.
Every player who ever had Daniel Snyder as an owner will back him up because he caters to
well,
the
you know,
guys.
RG3 can't bitch about him. That's for sure.
Right.
You know,
Well, RG3, the fact that he's regressed so significantly, I mean, and he's so young, he needs a guy like Shanahan. He just doesn't realize it. And I think, honestly, what hurts him so much in this situation is the fact that he is so smart. He's a brilliant guy, and he really does know a lot, and he's sharp.
And he's frustrated
And he
now.
knows that.
Yeah, and he's frustrated.
He's frustrated. He knows that. He thinks he knows more than he does. And I think for that reason, he's not willing to be coachable with Mike Shanahan.
I agree. He's really
you need
smart,
a
but
new
he's,
coach in there.
He's still really young.
If he's going to
That's the
respond.
difference.
Yeah, right.
That's a problem.
He has a ton to learn, but he will not learn that ton if Shanahan's still the
Let's
guy.
talk about yesterday's football games. A lot of great ones. What were your favorite? The Baltimore game. What were your favorite games?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Baltimore game was a lot of fun. You know, that Miami Dolphins Pittsburgh Steelers game.
Yeah,
What
the
a
NFL
shock.
is so crazy.
Yeah, I loved the 49ers taking it to the Seahawks.
Yeah, me too.
At home, you know, because that
Seahawks
just
had to get knocked down a couple of
they
pegs.
the 49ers really needed that because they were completely abused in week 2 by Seattle.
Right.
And when you're the team who's supposed to be the biggest and baddest and toughest, run the ball and stuff everyone defensively, and you get stuffed, you can't head into the playoffs knowing that you got whooped physically by a team, you know, by a team in the NFC. So I think that coming out of that's going to really buoy them toward the end of the season.
The Niners are a weird team. Like going into the playoffs, what do you think the 49ers like chances are?
I think they have a great shot. I think in the NFC, you got to look at the Seahawks and the 49ers as the teams who kind of set the standard for what kind of football wins late in the year. Amazing defense.
Right.
And a balanced attack offensively. I think Russell Wilson is a significantly better quarterback than Colin Kaepernick because he is so willing to take coaching and learn every day, just smarter with the ball. So I think in that regard, they have the advantage there. I would be shocked if the Seahawks don't advance to the Super Bowl because they will be at home through the playoffs. They'll have a bye on
Get out your
play at
mittens,
home.
Russell Wilson. Get out your mittens.
Right.
It's going to be cold. All right, it's already nasty here in the Northeast. It's going to be a nasty winter. I mean, if it's a night like the last 2 nights, forget snow. Just like the last 2 nights, that rainy, sleety.
That's
it's
worse
hard
than
to play.
snow.
It is. It's worse. It's hard to play football. All right, we're going to take a break. Back after this.
The Artie Lange Show, weeknights on Audience, only on DirecTV.